Hello everyone, my name is Ryan. I'm an Anglican minister here in the Church of England. Today we're continuing our series looking at the 39 Articles, which are the theological identity card of the Church of England and a statement of our beliefs. As a church, we don't require that our members necessarily believe everything that is in the Articles, but they are supposed to function as an identity card for church leaders and to set a basis for the teaching across the denomination. And today we're looking at a subject which some people may find fascinating, others may find it confusing, and others may find it even controversial. And that is the teaching that Jesus descended into hell, of the going down of Christ into hell. As Christ died for us and was buried, so also is it to be believed that he went down into hell. So what Article 3 is affirming here is a line from within the Apostles' Creed. And the Apostles' Creed tells us that Jesus was crucified, died and was buried. He descended to... What comes next? The interesting thing here is the way that different versions of the Apostles' Creed will translate the next word slightly differently. So some say he descended to the dead. The older version that we tend to use in traditional Anglican settings say he descended into hell, and other versions prefer to use the Greek word which says he descended into Hades. So what's going on? Well, the first thing to make clear is that we don't believe that Jesus died and then went to hell in order to suffer torment. That's not what the Apostles' Creed is saying, and it's certainly not what the Bible teaches. So what's going on with the idea of a descent after death? Well, the language is taken from Acts chapter 2, which says that Christ was not abandoned to Hades, nor did his flesh see corruption. So the soul of Jesus went to Hades, but he was not abandoned to Hades. What is Hades? Well, Hades is the Greek equivalent of the Old Testament word Sheol. And according to Jewish belief at the time, which I think is in agreement with what the Old Testament says, everybody went to Hades, or Sheol, when they died. Their body was buried and their soul went to a place called Hades. But Hades had two sections. One section was for the righteous, another section was for the wicked. And if you read the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, I think you can see these two sections of Hades being described. One section is clearly a place of torment. The other section is described as being by Abraham's side. So what does it mean that the soul of Jesus went to Hades? Well, it means three things. Firstly, it means that Jesus was truly human. Jesus had both a human body and a human soul. And when his human body went to the place where dead human bodies go, his soul went to the place where dead human souls go. Hades. Secondly, and even more excitingly, Christ's descent into Hades was part of the salvation of the Old Testament people of God. In Ephesians 4, it tells us that when he ascended on high, he led a host of captives and gave gifts to men. In saying he ascended, what does it mean but that he had also descended into the lower regions of the earth? So Jesus goes all the way down into the lower regions of the earth, into, I believe, Hades. And then he seems to lead captives up out of that place to a place of ascension, into heaven. So before Jesus died, the righteous people of the Old Testament went to the good part of Hades, Abraham's side. Now that Jesus has died, his soul went to be with them, but then raised them up to be with him in heaven. Ignatius of Antioch, who was a very early Christian writer and even a disciple of the Apostle John, he reflects that view, and he says that Christ, whom they were rightly awaiting, came to visit them and raise them from the dead. Then the third and final reason why Jesus descended into Hades was to proclaim victory over the forces of evil. Christ went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison because they formerly did not obey when God's patience waited in the days of Noah. Now, this is a difficult verse, and many people have different views on precisely what it means, but I think the idea is nicely summarised in a Lutheran document which says that we simply believe that the entire person, God and man, after the burial, descended into Hades, conquered the devil, destroyed the power of hell, and took from the devil all his might. So that's the idea of Christ's descent into Hades. I hope this helps you the next time you say the Apostles' Creed in church. I have heard some people say that they don't like saying that part of the creed because they're not sure if it's correct or if it's what the Bible says. I hope that what we've seen together can help us to see that the Apostles' Creed is founded on a good biblical basis. That as Christ died for us and was buried, so also is it to be believed that he went down into hell. Next up is the next logical step in our journey, and we're going to be considering Article 4 on the resurrection and ascension of Jesus. We'll be thinking about the question, where is the human body of Jesus now?